Hello, everybody. We are in December, and this is the time where people are starting to think about their New Year's goals. There's the New Year's resolutions. And so today, what we're going to do is just some of the prep work. So, in last week's episode, we talked about habits, routines, and goals, and how some things are really just about putting in the habit and putting in the routine. And so today, we're going to actually talk about what are some ways to create goals that actually get done. Because when it comes to money, a lot of the times, I'm going to just share with you one of the biggest reasons why financial goals don't get done. And it's because they're dry, they're boring, they're like an unsalted cracker. There's not a single bit of truth, of desire in that. And when we're using our should, like, oh, I should do this, I should do that, when it comes to money and we're working against ourselves and there's no truth of what we want, like in the goal, it's like we're really, really working uphill. So one of the first and most important things about setting your money goals is that they should, at least some of the money, maybe not all of it, but at least some of your money should be going to the truth of really what you want. And maybe today's not going to be the episode that I do this, but maybe actually a different episode I'll put together about how to find the truth of your desire if that's been like buried and repressed for a long time. Right? But that's going to be the thing. And let me tell you a quick story. So one time I had clients who were having so much trouble saving money for vacation. And the vacation that they were saving for was a family vacation to a place that they'd been a number of times. And the truth was they just really didn't want to go. They just really didn't want to go. Felt like obligation, felt like something they had to do. And when I said, all right, well, where do you want to go? They're like, oh, we want to go to this place, but it costs 3 times as much as the vacation we can't save for. And I was like, yeah, all right, well, let's just put that on the list anyways, because you actually want to go there. And when you actually want to do something, it's far more likely to get done. So we put that on their goals and they went on the fancy vacation and they didn't go to the thing and they were to the family vacation. And it ended up working out great for everybody, right? They had the awkward conversation with the parents and they went and did what they wanted with their lives and their money. And that was perfect. All right. So the next thing that we want to consider is the mental benefits, the emotional benefits, and the body-based benefits for your goals. Because another reason why oftentimes money goals fail is because we're asking the body to do a lot. We're asking the body to go to work. We're asking the body to give up snacks or give certain things up. And then all of the wins go to the spreadsheets. So it's a very mental win, right? So I want you to think about things that, like, if your money goals don't shift your lifestyle at all, very likely they're going to be a mental based goal. Your mind will be happy in knowing that the spreadsheet is better, that there's more money in the bank, whatever else. Some goals are going to be emotional and you're going to get the win of the feeling of freedom or the feeling of security or the feeling of generosity or whatever else. And then the body wants the lifestyle goals. The body wants the vacation. The body wants to eat the nice food. The body wants to sit in the sun, wants the day off. All right. So I'm just going to say this again and say this a little bit again, right? So the mind wants to stack the cash. The mind wants the spreadsheet to look better. The mind wants to know the plan is working, the plan's in place, right? This is where you're going to be getting the feelings out of that. And then the body's doing the things. So when you're thinking about your money goals, I just want you to consider all of these angles, because the goals, when we put a plan in place where there's some mental goals, there's some emotional goals, there's some body goals, and the lifestyle is going to get enough in all 3 of those categories, those goals tend to get done. When somebody's really asking the body to sacrifice so much and the goals are only mental, it's tough to go. You know what I mean? When the emotions haven't been considered and all of the spending is only going toward the very need-based, very practical things, and there's no emotional juice in there, then we deviate off of our plans. And if everything's going towards the body and all of your money is staying in the present and you're not saving anything for the future, the chances are emotionally you're going to feel a little unsteady, and mentally money will bother you, right? So we want to just balance these things. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is, so listen, once we buy our needs for today, right, we're going to have the things that we need, all that sort of stuff. And then with our extra money, we basically have 2 things that we can buy. We can either buy security, which is going to be for later, or we can buy status or freedom, which is going to be for now. And this is really like the paradox of money. And again, these things need to be balanced. So we want to make sure that we have some things going towards planning, preparing, pleasure. We want to be making sure that we're saving money for these sorts of things. And also, we want to be enjoying, we want to be buying the upgrades. We want to be going on the travels and things like that. So these are some of the things I just want to plant the seed for you to consider these things. So last week's episode, and actually this week's episode will be short too. Last week's episode, we were just talking about like goals, habits, routines, and how to look at some things like building up the habits, right? Habits are good to be like creating security for yourself. Build the 3 different savings habits for security. And then once those things are habits, they're just things that get done. They're just things you do. So set them up automatically. Like when I ask somebody, well, what's the goal of brushing your teeth? Sometimes somebody will give me an answer, but it's really just a habit. It's just a thing that you would feel weird if you didn't do it, right? And it's the same thing for saving money. And then the freedom, the status increase, those things, that money, I mean, you might save it and stack it up and then spend it, but that's money that we're going to enjoy, right? And both are going to be really important. And so when we get out of balance and we're saving too much money for security and we're not enjoying anything now, those plans tend to just create some internal resistance because, again, it's like the body's doing all this work and the body gets none of the benefit, right? But if we have everything going toward now and, I make more money and I spend more money and I have nothing going towards security, my mind is going to get to be, my mind will get anxious about that. So having a balance there. All right. So these are the things that you just want to consider for yourself, as we're coming into, the end of the year. This is the time where we have a little bit of time and space to reflect on these things. And so being able to consider this, I think this episode will probably actually go live. I think it might even go live on Christmas. Well, if that's the case, Merry Christmas to you. But, when you're sitting down thinking about these things, I just want to give you like the framework to really consider these things so that way you don't have lopsided goals that either don't get done, or if they do get done, they actually make you feel, not so good in your life. All right. So I'll probably do one more talk in December. Actually, I'll probably talk about the truth of desire and really, really like unleashing that. And then we'll start fresh in January about building all the things. So I love you. I hope that you're snuggled up, happy, warm and cozy, enjoying the winter time and the holiday season. All right. I love you. Bye.